Hello all, my name is Stacy and I am the artist behind Studio Stacy, which means you can find me in my studio most days painting with wax and a torch. I also have a passion for nature and enjoy living a simple life here in beautiful West Virginia with my husband Matt. I've recently fallen in love with knitting and crocheting, which is what this video is all about. In this week's video, I thought it would be fun to see how much knitting I can get done in a couple months' time. So let's rewind the clock back a few months. And don't forget, if you're enjoying the video, hit that thumbs up button.
Happy April 1st, happy April Fool's Day, and welcome to a new April project vlog. I'm going to flip the camera around here and show you my knitting and reading journal and kind of kick off this vlog. That way to maybe kind of explain what my plans are for this month, and then we'll see how much of those plans actually come to fruition. And again, because this is the start of a new quarter, I just thought I would show my 2025 knitting goals again, which was to knit 12 pairs of socks. I'm on target for that. Might knit a t-shirt maybe some point in time. Oh, I could check off this. I did finish the Revelation blanket. Have not knitted a cardigan. I have not used up my cotton yarn stash, and I have not knit a sweater. So I've only completed one of these things on this list, but I am on track to knit 12 pairs of socks. We'll just have to see about the rest. No pressure. And moving on to my 2025 kind of creative plans, knitting and crochet plans. In March, I was able to finish another pair of socks. I finished that blanket, and I started to learn how to knit Continental, which was one of kind of my big overall goals. However, the Tulsa tee still did not get work done. So in April, my plan is to cast on another sock, which I have the yarn ready and wound up for. It's actually similar or the same yarn that I used for my Mardi Gras socks. I'm just adding in another color, and I'm going to knit Matt a pair of socks using another new pattern. I also want to continue on learning how to knit Continental, continuing on with the Mistake ribbed scarf. And we'll see if I get back to the Tulsa tee, but those are the goals for April. Hi all, it is April 13th, and I don't think I've recorded a whole lot of knitting so far this month. We're pretty much halfway through the month. I'm going to flip the camera around and show you what I have done, because I have worked on a couple of the projects, and then I've also been kind of running through an idea, so I'll share that with you. But I'm hoping, and I keep looking over there, sorry, I do that all the time in these videos, my eyes dart around, but at any rate, I'm hoping that going forward the rest of this month, you will get more snippets of me knitting. I will try to remember to pick up the camera to do that, but let me flip the camera around and show you what I've got done so far. Okay, here is the sock that I'm making for Matt. And I think it's the Comfort Core sock. I believe that's the sock, what the pattern is called. And I'm onto the toe area, and not all of this is the toe. I think it started about right here. But I had to add some of this dark green into the foot because
I needed to knit one more sock, and this is the yarn I have left over, which is about half of the quantity that I used on this. So I stopped a little bit short on the toe, but I think it'll be fine. And yeah, I'm planning on using pretty much all of this up, so it's kind of exciting. So I am hoping to finish up this sock today and maybe cast on the second sock for this pair. But we'll see what happens. So let me show you the next project here. Oh boy, from neon to Mardi Gras, huh?
It's always a party here.
Lots of ends to still weave in, but it's a first try on anyway.
Call these toe grabbers.
Toe grabbers, yes.
Well, here we go. Should be a lot tighter.
Too tight?
No, just gotta get them on. Here we go.
How is it? Oh, too far.
Sorry, too fast.
Too fast, too fast. What do you think? Good?
Sure.
Too tight? Good?
Yeah, we could maybe go a little wider here, actually. We talked about maybe doing 2 more stitches or something.
Okay, I'll try that out.
Otherwise, it's pretty good.
Top is better, right?
Yeah, because I mean, it's obviously not loose.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think if it was 2 more wider through here, it'd be alright. I mean, it's tight, but...
Okay, I'll try it a bit wider, not just there, but not up top, right? Not in the cuff area.
No, because
that seems fine.
Because this is always loose anyway.
Okay. Okay. All right, this is the Mistake Ribbed Scarf by Pearl Soho, I believe. And as you can see, if I step back some here, it's getting pretty long. This is actually the last ball of yarn, so it's not going to be a huge, long scarf, but I think it should work as a scarf. We're going to find out. If not, it was good practice. All right, I thought I'd sit down and have a little chat with you. So that scarf, I've been practicing continental knitting with that, with holding the yarn in my left hand, which is how I crochet. And it's kind of what I had a tendency to want to do when I first learned how to knit, but the person I learned knitting from taught me English style because that's what she knew, and I'm very, very grateful for her teaching me that. But I decided to try continental knitting because, one, I had heard that it was easier on, it seems to be less hand movement, less wrist movement, I should say. So I'd heard that it was easier on your hands, which was important to me. And then I had also heard that it could technically be faster because when I knit English style, I drop the needle and then wrap the yarn, pick the needle back up. So, you know, it's just a few more extra steps in there versus continental style. I don't know if you care about any of this information, but I'm going to explain it to you, I guess, anyways. So at any rate, because I'm starting to get better at continental, I did a quick kind of time, how long it took me to do 1 row knitting continental versus how long it took me to do 1 row knitting English. And there's definitely about a minute difference. And while that doesn't seem to be like a huge amount of time, I think if you add all that up in one project, it's definitely probably hours worth of time. So I think, having said that, I don't know if I'm going to switch over when I knit socks, but I think what I'm going to try to do is start knitting continental on some bigger projects, which, let me flip the camera around and show you what I'm thinking here. All right, this is the start of my Tulsa tee, which I think I might have shown you in the beginning of this video. I don't even know now, but you've seen it before. So I'm only into the first stripe. It's a top down. This was the ribbing on the collar. And then I started into my first stripe, and I think I'm about ready to change to a different color. However, I think I might rip this back.
And I might rip this back because, yeah, like, can you see there's like some holes in areas. And I don't know, there's really some bad holes here. Yeah, like right there. Those are horrible. Can you see those? Like, they're big, they're huge. They don't look good at all. So I think it'll be worthwhile to rip back and start anew. And I think I'm going to try to start this in with Continental knitting. Oh, and this is the yarn I'm using. It's Paint Box Cotton DK, which I know it's not like perhaps the best yarn to be knitting a sweater out of or a t-shirt out of, but I'm going to try it because I have a lot of this on hand. All right, back to the couch to have one more quick conversation with you. And I think what I'm going to do first is to make a swatch. So I need to go check to see what other yarn colors I have. I know I have a bunch of this yarn, and it shouldn't matter what color I swatch in. It should all be the same as far as the gauge goes. So I'm going to go check that out, see what other colors I have and how much of each I have. And I'm going to try to swatch using Continental knitting, and then also I'm going to do another swatch English style knitting and just see how that goes, and then kind of go from there, because I think I knit looser. I think my gauge will be a looser gauge in Continental. Sorry, that was my phone just dinging. Hopefully that wasn't too distracting. So anyways, that's my plans for the rest of April. I think what I'm really going to focus on is swatching again, finishing up the scarf, and then finishing that sock, and then starting the second sock and hopefully getting that done. I don't know if I'll restart this Tulsa tee, but I don't know. I just wanted to, I guess, talk things through with y'all. So hopefully this wasn't too rambling. Anyways, we'll see how we get here. Hi y'all, it is the end of April, crazy enough, and I'm going to flip the camera around and show you what I got done here in the month of April, but first I've decided to combine April and May. Alright, so here is that mistake ribbed scarf, and you can see there are some mistakes in the mistake ribbed scarf. That is not part of the pattern, that is just me. But it's fairly long. I'm happy with how it came out, and maybe I'll try it on for you here real quick. Even though it is a balmy 80 degrees out, it is not scarf weather. But this was definitely good practice, and I'm happy with how it came out for the most part. I also just wanted to show you like the stretch factor, and like this is so squishy. I wish you could feel this through the video or through your screen, but yeah, it's a really fun pattern, easy pattern, and yeah, it was a lot of fun to do, so highly recommend it. All right, and then this was the other April project. These are not blocked, so they're a little wonky looking, but these are Matt's Mardi Gras socks. And they are done. The ends are woven in, but I just have to wash and block them, which I will do here shortly, but I'm counting them as done. Oh, and that scarf has to get washed and blocked as well. All right, so April is wrapped up. Moving on to May projects. And we are traveling a lot. Matter of fact, every weekend we are gone in the month of May, which is crazy. And we're crazy busy doing a ton of things. So I did one thing earlier, which you may have seen. I tore apart the Tulsa tee. I am putting that on the back burner. I'm hoping to get back into it in June. But there were holes in it. I wasn't real happy with my knitting tension and things like that. So I've decided to just tear it apart, put it on hold, and start over again in June. And it's just, just good practice for me. Like I said, I'm new to knitting and especially new to knitting garments. So I'm not too upset about having to tear that apart, but that project is getting put on hold. So you may or may not be wondering what I'm planning on working on in the month of May. And that is easy peasy travel projects. So I wound up a bunch of yarn a couple days ago now, and I'm planning on doing a pair of socks for myself and then a same pair of socks for my sister. I got this yarn in Virginia where she lives. She was actually with me when I got the yarn. And so I thought, why not knit her a pair of socks? I'm probably not going to knit them in June for her, or I mean in May rather, because I'm going to see her at the end of May and I want to get measurements on her feet. But I am going to knit my socks here in the month of May, at least that's the plan. So that's the first travel project. The second travel project is I want to make some yarn cozies or koozies to hold these little tiny balls of yarn in, because as I'm knitting, the yarn kind of tends to get a bit tangled up. And so I figured a yarn cozy koozie will be a nice, easy travel project, and I have a pattern picked out. And I also have a bunch of leftover scraps of yarn, so that'll be a nice, easy travel project as well. And then the last project in May is possibly one more pair of socks. And then what I'm thinking is I might take the month of June off for knitting socks and just really focus on the Tulsa tee. So I'll show you the yarn I have in mind for those socks. And that's it, my travel project plans for the month of May. Hopefully I'll be taking you along for the ride.
All right, I have completed this pair. Of course, I still have all of these ends to weave in, but I'm considering them done for right now, and I'm going to wind up that color of yarn that I showed you, which was from Louisville. So here we go. Let's get to winding some of this yarn so then I can start the next pair of socks and as we hit the road again. Hi all, happy June. I thought I would kind of wrap up this project vlog by just catching you up, and since all the fancy knitters and podcasters wear their knitting attire, I thought I would, wear this scarf, and I have it, just fashioned just beautifully here. At any rate, this is the scarf I finished. It is done. I'm really happy with it. And even though it's 110 degrees out there, not really, I'm exaggerating. It's like 90 at any rate. I thought, why not throw it on? Because, that's what you're supposed to do if you're a knitting vlogger / podcaster. Anyways, let's get into kind of the wrap up for this video. All right, first things first, this
knitting and reading journal that you saw me start. Have I kept up with it? No. I have, however, kept up with my Goodreads account and my Ravelry, and so I did end up catching this up, but I haven't been keeping up with it. So it's caught up now, and I think a couple of you have asked, why keep this along with the Ravelry and the Goodreads, and I don't know, I just feel like I want a hard, like, paper copy of my plans and my goals and things like that. I don't know. It's just in my head. And part of it is also just in case like Ravelry ever shuts down or Goodreads goes away, I still have a copy of kind of, what I've been doing, reading, things like that. So at any rate, it's now caught up. All right, up next, my socks. These have finished, well, minus the ends that I still have not woven in, but I'm really happy with how they turned out, so I'm considering them finished, even though I guess technically they're not. And I did start the other pair of socks, which you'll have seen me start, and so I'll show you where I'm at with those now. All right, here's where these socks are at. This one I'm on the toe, so I'm almost done with this one, hoping to actually get it done later this afternoon. And then this one, I've made it past the heel, working on the foot, so this should be easily, hopefully, finished up by the end of June here, no problem. And the last project I worked on in May was this yarn cozy. Didn't quite get it done, but it's getting there, and I think I'll probably continue this project on into June along with those socks that aren't quite done yet. All right, here is the yarn cozy, and I might be maybe halfway through it. Not exactly sure, but again, this shouldn't be too hard to finish up by the end of June, and maybe I'll have started another one, who knows. Stay tuned. All right, so I think that wraps up the past couple months of knitting. And if you liked the video, don't forget, give it a thumbs up. If you aren't subscribed, consider subscribing. I do probably more painting and barn dominium travel videos than I do knitting videos, but I try to throw a knitting video in there every now and then, or a making video. So at any rate, thank you so much for coming along. If you made it this far, I really appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.